request you to hold it while I start. Okay, should be live now. Okay, welcome everybody to General Assembly. My name is Atula Pogoda. I'm the lead organizer, well, not the lead organizer anymore. I'm the co-organizer in charge of events at Melbourne Silicon Beach. A lot of you are from GA, so you wouldn't have heard about Melbourne Silicon Beach. It's a meetup on meetup.com. We have about 7,500 members as of now, and our March meetup is tomorrow night. So please join and come tomorrow night to Royal Melbourne Hotel, which is a pub around the corner of Burke and King. We have innovators and people, and Dara is going to be helping the Silicon Beaches become innovators through play as well. If you Google Melbourne Silicon Beach, you'll find the meetup page. It's on meetup.com. And tonight is my pleasure to introduce Dara, who's innovator through play. So I don't know much to introduce that aspect of it. Dara will do it today. So just to say that play is a very important part of having an innovative mindset, which we lack in Melbourne and in Australia. Silicon Beach is about encouraging people to have a Silicon Valley mindset, which is not being afraid of failure and not being afraid of being laughed at. So that aspect is lacking here. So we are trying to inculcate that, and Dara is a major part of that. Thank you for being here. So without further ado, I'll introduce Dara Sipkin. There you are.
Welcome everybody. I am Dara. This is my very bad German accent. I am living on the edge of ridiculous with you today, and I hope that you join all of you, to be ridiculous. Today, we're speaking about the secret sauce of innovation. It is a secret. Although Atula has already let the cat out of the bag, I'm talking about the play. I don't know if that was like Spanish or what. Alright, that's my intro. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dara. I'm a mindset coach by trade, and I work with a lot of business owners around their headspace. So we look at anxiety, fear of failure, stress, all the stuff that really hold us back from achieving the things that we want to achieve. And over the last 6 months to a year, I've been obsessed with this idea of play. And I've basically been a play nerd, researching and looking up every aspect of play, from animal play to how they play in Silicon Valley. And today we're going to talk about how we can be more innovative through play. And the reason I lead with this idea of innovation, because this innovation is a very sexy word. We talk about agility, we talk about being lean, we talk about, all this stuff in the startup world. But I want to talk to you about play. And I feel like if I talked about play in the title, most of you wouldn't have showed up. Because you're like, oh, play, I'm uncomfortable. Play, it's childish, it's frivolous, it's silly. So today I'm going to change your concept and change your mindset around play. Because we have this socialized understanding of, again, this like frivolity, and it's a distraction and it's silly. But I want you to understand that play is productive, nourishing, and a beautiful way to tap into your creativity to be more innovative, okay? I'm gonna leave the lab coat on because I think it makes me look a lot more, professional and like I know what I'm talking about. So I call myself an innovator because I am a very playful person, and I'm thinking of new things all of the time and ways to engage people in their businesses and in their everyday life of how to be more playful. Because really, big ideas lie on the edge of ridiculous, yeah? So when Thomas Edison was going to invent the light bulb, do you think he was waiting around for someone to tell him that that wasn't a normal idea or that was going to work out? He failed like 10,000 times before he actually came up with the idea of the light bulb, or actually was able to make it work. So I want you all to start to give yourselves permission to be here, to show up and to open your minds a bit about this idea of play, and start to just break down those walls and break down that socialized understanding like we just spoke about play can be something that is really actually quite innovative. So let's talk about it. So what are we doing? So first we're going to talk about innovation, because again, I think this word gets thrown around all the time, and some of us are like, yeah, I know what that is, and some of us are like, I think I heard about it at Silicon Beach's last meetup, but what the hell is innovation? Second, we're going to talk about a whole new mind. Now, I don't know if some of you have heard of Real Big Things, but it's a great kind of TED-style talk that Hard Hat Digital puts on every month or so. and I presented there on Friday, and the idea was better, faster, stronger. And I presented about how we are basically being taken over, our jobs are being taken over by automation and by overseas cheaper work, essentially. So I'm going to talk about that a bit more, and how we need to start tapping into the right side of our brain. Now there's been some stuff that kind of debunks the idea of the left brain and the right brain and all of that, but I just want to use it more as a metaphor. So when we use things like logic and analysis and function, parts of our left side of our brain light up. When we tap into creativity, empathy, meaning, parts of our right brain light up if we were going to be in a, in a CAT scan. So then we're going to look about how we can bridge the gap between work and play, and again, break down those walls and start to adopt play into our professional lives. And then lastly, we're going to look at agility and play, another one of those sexy words. So what is innovation? Can anyone tell me what they think it is or what they've heard it is? Don't look here. Give me, what do you guys think?
Something new.
Something new, exactly. Anyone else? Something groundbreaking, exactly.
Revolutionary change.
Revolutionary change, I love it. So many sexy words. Anyone else?
Experimental.
Experimental.
Changing the existing.
Yep, changing the existing, so kind of pushing up against the status quo. Exactly.
Disruptive.
Disrupting, oh, that's another sexy word, isn't it? Disruption. That's what I try to do when I rock a bit of beard. I'd like to be a bit disruptive, you know?
It worked.
Pardon? It worked? Excellent, thank you. So here are a couple of the definitions that I have found that I think make sense when we think about innovation. So it's change that adds value so that you can do something, yeah? It's staying relevant in a time of unprecedented change. So we live in an age of abundance. Every one of us has a smartphone and a smartwatch and an iPod and an iPad and a this, and our phone talks to our computer, which talks to our lights, which talks to our toilet, right? So we're all set up here, aren't we? So bringing constant value to your customers. So again, how can you make sure that you are not obsolete? Because again, someone else can be doing it better, faster, and stronger than you. Also implementing something creative, so maybe something that's actually never been invented before, which sometimes can be quite actually challenging in this day and age because a lot of things have already been made up. And lastly, in any way that is new, useful, and surprising. And I love this quote by Steve Jobs that he said, innovation distinguishes between the leader and the follower. So again, if you're a leader, you're not worried about failure, you're not worried about being laughed at, you're going to come out here and wear a beard and not worry about people are laughing at you or with you, yeah? So it's really, again, stepping outside of the box. Because sometimes when we step outside of our box, we're afraid because other people want to put us back in because they're afraid. And the reason why we step outside of our box is not for anyone else, but for ourselves. So next time someone judges you for giving yourself permission to be a bit more weird or a bit more creative or a bit more different, don't let them put you back in that box, yeah? Know that they're judging you because they're probably jealous or they wish they could be doing what you're doing because they don't have the balls to do it. Excuse my French. I sometimes use swear words. I'm not going to apologize because I actually read a study that people who swear are more trustworthy because they have less filters. So next time you swear in a meeting, you can let them know about that study. It's somewhere, I promise. Well, you know, some people can be a little bit put off by the word balls. All right, but you know, I can say fuck. How about that? Fuck, is that all right? All right, there we go. Now we're a bit uncomfortable. What if I say fuck and balls? How about that?
Keep on going.
All right.
Really trust you right now.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the information age versus the conceptual age. Now, essentially, we are leaving the information age, and the information age is where we've been, you know, relying on computers. We've got to Google everything, you know, like we're essentially, our lives revolve around knowledge. We want to know everything. But essentially now, we have access and the opportunity to know everything. So now we have entered the conceptual age. So what do you think it means to be in the conceptual age, using context clues?
Putting information together to make something new.
Putting information together to make something new, okay? Anyone else? What's conceptual?
Well, it is what you build upon, how you extend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how you
So
add to
everybody has
something?
access to the same tools, but what you do with that is what matters.
Okay, exactly. So I'm just going to say, again, what you said, what matters. So the conceptual age is bringing more meaning into what we do. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So essentially, this is our evolution. I have to apologize for this very crappy photo. So essentially, you know, whether you believe in evolution or Christianity or whatever, just for, you know, lack of a better option, this is where we're going to go. So we started out as a monkey, and then we became a farmer, and we got the agricultural age. But then all of a sudden, we invented machines, and machines started to replace human backs. Then we go to the industrial age, and again, we had mass production and conveyor belts and things like that. So again, machines start to replace human backs. Now, or in the past, or what we've just entered, or excuse me, just left, is the information age, where now computers are essentially replacing human left brains. So all the computing, the knowledge, the statistics, all of the stuff, the maths, all the computers can do that better and faster and stronger than we can. So now we're entering the conceptual age. And they use this example, so this is actually from a book called A Whole New Mind, which is by Daniel Pink. I highly recommend the book. He also has a TED Talk as well, and he talks about this concept of the conceptual age. So here we have a doctor who is carrying around a stencil and a paintbrush. And this is showing that now doctors need to start being more empathic. They need to have more meaning. People don't want to just go in and have you cut off after 20 seconds of your story. They want to have eye contact with you. They want to have a relationship with you. Because essentially you have a rash on your arm, you Google it. You go to the pharmacy, put a little ointment on there, and you're done. Before, you might have gone to the doctor for that rash, but now we have that accessibility. We're starting to phase doctors out for all those little things, our little bumps and bruises, and things like that. So essentially, I want to talk to you about how we need to access the whole new mind. So I'm not talking about throwing the left brain out with the bathwater and the baby and all that, but essentially marrying those two sides and really starting to incorporate this idea of needing to use our whole brain. Because essentially, our society has been built on left brain thinking. It's been the favorite side of our brain since as far back as Hippocrates. Because again, it's that logic, it's that analysis, that function. That's essentially how we've been able to evolve. But now we need to start going back to that period of like the Renaissance and periods where we were more arty and more connected and had more meaning. So I just want to look again at this idea of our right brain functions and our left brain functions. So our left brain is very sequential, it's logical, it's process, it's science, it's math, it's detail, it's ration, etc. And again, pretty much everything that you read on that left side can be done by a computer. Can it not? So now we go to the right brain. So the right brain is simultaneous, creative, it's artsy, etc. When we look at communication, for example, if I was speaking to you, what you hear me say, like the actual just words itself, is understood by your left brain. But the way that I'm saying it, my punctuation, the context, things like that, that is the right brain, okay? So essentially, we don't know how to communicate unless we're accessing the right side of our brain. Our language would be really dull and mundane, and there would be no real connection or passion in the things that we talk about. Essentially, we would be talking like this, and we would just be not having a very good time. So what, again, I'm trying to say is we're looking to access a whole new mind. So we need to be more innovative, we need to be more creative, we need to be more outside of the box thinkers because of the 3 A's, okay? First, and we've spoken about this, abundance. So essentially, consumers are satisfied and even over-satisfied with all the shit that we have. We have so much stuff in the Western world, it is ridiculous. I think I read in the book that like the storage industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry because you need a place to put your stuff, yeah? Your house is full, your garage is full, you need somewhere to put your stuff, okay? What do you do with that stuff? It just sits there, right? Why do we need so much fucking stuff? I don't know. So essentially now there's this accelerated need for beauty, significance, meaning, and purpose. And we think about things like mindfulness and meditation and yoga and all of these different more Eastern ways of thinking. People are wanting to access this stuff more because they want to know more, and they want more meaning in their lives. So essentially abundance is driving us out of the left brain and into the right brain. Same thing with Asia. So if I'm, say, a computer programmer or a software engineer, and I say make $70,000 to $100,000 in Australia, well, you know what? A company can ship that over to India, and someone can make $15K doing that same thing. And $15K in India is a really nice salary. So if you were a big corporate agency or something like that, do you want to pay an Australian $100,000 for the job or $15K for someone in India to do it? So again, like there's a lot of jobs that are going to be replaceable in the next 5 to 10 years, and millions of people are going to have to start figuring out how they can be better, faster, and stronger than computers. And that leads me to automation. So machines replace blue-collar workers and put them on the street in the industrial age, and now in the knowledge age, computers are going to be putting white-collar workers on the street. And I don't mean to scare you and you're freaking out going, oh shit, that's me. But again, how can you start to differentiate yourself with bringing more creativity, meaning, and purpose into what you do? So this idea of high tech versus high concept and high touch. So there's kind of these 6 different maxims that Daniel Pink talks about. He talks about design, play, story, meaning, empathy, and symphony. And so these are all the different ways that we can access more depth and access our right brain to become better at what we do, to become more innovative, and to become more outside of the box thinkers. So obviously high tech is all the computers and analysis and processes, and high concept and high touch. High concept again is that meaning and purpose, and high touch is that empathy, that connection and things like that. There's actually a statistic that says doctors will cut you off after 23 seconds of telling your story, okay? And they had this story in the book in this whole new mind book said, do you guys remember the anthrax breakout in the US? They did some crazy shit over here. That's why I'm here, by the way. It's crazy over there. So there was this anthrax breakout, and for those of you that don't know, people were putting poison inside the mail. For who knows why. I feel like this was even pre-terrorism. So there was this poison in the mail, and these 2 postal workers were showing signs of being infected by anthrax. And they went to the doctor, 2 different doctors nearby. One went to a male doctor, told him his symptoms, what was going on. 23 seconds later, the doctor said, yep, no worries, here's a bit of Panadol, go home, no worries, you'll be fine. What happened to that gentleman? 3 days later, he died. Because the doctor didn't empathize with him, he didn't have that high concept, high touch. He just said, blah, 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 see you later, thanks again. The other doctor was a female, and she listened, believe it or not trying to be sexist, it's just the story. I got a few laughs, other people are like, whatever, the men are like, we listen. So the female doctor sat with him, listened to him, heard his whole story, ran the test, he ended up being infected, and she saved his life. So it's really important, again, that we stop trying to be like computers and we be more like human beings. Because essentially the way we're working isn't working, okay? It costs Australian businesses $10 billion a year for stress-related mental health compensation. And it said that 76% of Australians are somewhat disengaged in their work. Because we're not computers, we're humans, okay? So we need to start humanizing the workplace. And I believe one of the best ways to do that is through play. So to survive in this day and age, and again, I don't mean to be all doom and gloom, but I want you to be set up for the conceptual age. All those other people that signed up and didn't arrive, they're screwed, okay? We're all going to move forward in the conceptual age kicking ass, because we're going to ask ourselves these questions. Can someone overseas do what I do cheaper? Can a computer do it faster? And is what I'm offering actually in demand in the age of abundance? We can have a great idea and think it's the best thing since sliced bread, but no one gives a shit about it because they don't need it, okay? And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why startups and entrepreneurs fail, because they love their idea, but no one else gives a shit, okay? So market testing obviously is hugely important. So ask yourself these questions. So now I want to talk to you about how we're actually going to bridge the gap. How are we going to come forth into this conceptual age to be more ridiculous, have bigger ideas, and to be more innovative? And that's through these 3 concepts. And Atula spoke about failure earlier, and I talk about embracing the F word, okay? I run different workshops around town, and this is one of my favorites. It's about embracing the F word. So it's about taking risks, it's about iterating, it's about making mistakes, and ditching perfection. How many of you honestly are perfectionists? Raise your hand. Thank you for being honest. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to let you in a little secret. Perfectionism is just a sexy term for procrastination, okay? Essentially, if you're a perfectionist, you are waiting and waiting and waiting for that perfect opportunity or that perfect time or that perfect partner or that perfect employee or that perfect client, and they never come. Essentially, you are chasing a unicorn made of donuts. Yes, that sounds awesome, but it's never gonna fucking happen. I'm sorry, okay? So ditch perfection. Realize that good enough is good enough. And I love this idea. There's like this perfectionist scale. You've got failure here, you've got good enough in the middle, and you've got, you did well over here, and good enough is still failure. If you're not failing, you're not trying. If you're not failing, you're not learning. So essentially, ditch perfection so you can start fucking up more often and learning more as you go along. Does that make sense? So essentially, procrastination and perfectionism, if they're in bed together, it's the same thing. So next time you say you're a perfectionist, just say you're a fucking procrastinator, okay? Because that's what you're doing. Next is this idea of permission. And I love this so much because we do not give ourselves permission to be silly, to be playful, to step outside the box, to push up against the status quo. We're afraid, and I see it so much in my work. I'm American, okay? You can tell by my accent. I've thrown a few jokes around. We don't have this tall poppy thing in America, yeah? We do have a bit of this kind of step on people and climb up and whatever, and I don't believe in that either. But this tall poppy thing, man, this is shit, okay? If you want to be something and if you want to get out there and you want to make shit happen, do it. Don't worry about being chopped down by other people, because again, they're jealous or they wish they could be doing what you're doing. So we really got to ditch this tall poppy stuff, okay? So this idea of permission, you can give it, you can get it, and you can take it. And I'll describe that in detail in a moment.
All right.
Right there. And next, and again, my favorite thing in the whole wide world is play. So improvising is a huge, huge tool when we're being innovative. Also, drawing is a fantastic idea as well, and playing different roles. So oftentimes when we work in an organization, we work on the floor of the cubicle of the place and we do our job and we never speak to anyone else. If we're on the innovation team, we don't talk to the creative team. If we're on the creative team, we don't talk to the design team. Well, how are we supposed to be more innovative and collaborative if we're all sitting in our little cubicles with our thumbs up our butt, doing the same thing over and over again? So opening up that space and being more collaborative and looking at Google and Facebook and all these multi-gazillion dollar businesses who have these spaces for collaboration. So first we're going to dissect failure a bit more. And I have these 3 steps for the failure, permission, and play. So failure again is making mistakes and it's taking smart risks. So we have to be risk takers when we're being innovative. We have to be risk takers when we're pushing against the status quo and being disruptive, okay? So stop to think about what you can and can't do. And also get out of autopilot, yeah? We're really good at just cruising around and we go to work and we come home and we make dinner and we go to sleep and we're kind of turned off. And again, autopilot is the same thing as a machine. So how can we be more human and turn off autopilot, or actually airplane mode, because that's, I guess, more current than autopilot. And also think about what's possible. And we're going to play a little game later. Don't think you're going to get off too easily just sitting here on your bums the whole time. I'm going to make you feel ridiculous. But that will come in time. Next, like we talked about, ditching perfectionism. So don't wait for that perfect opportunity, just do it, yeah? Atula, you had that example, right? You kind of farted around a bit. Atula made a mindfulness app. He farted around a bit, he was scared of failure, and then all these other mindfulness apps came out. He was like, shit. I shouldn't have waited, I should have just done it. Not to throw you under the bus, Atula, but I think that's a great story.
Yep, thanks.
Learn on the run. So just make mistakes, yeah? Again, you have to ditch perfection, you have to fail in order to learn. The best learning experience is failing. If you're not failing, you're not trying anything new. And last is to iterate. And one thing about iteration is detaching from your own personal ideas and perspectives. Start to open yourself up to collaborating and to listen to other people, because your idea isn't always the best idea. Sorry to tell you. Value the process as much as the product as well. We're very destination driven, but what I say is it's all about the journey, man. It's all about the journey. So next again, we'll talk about permission. And I think permission is so big when it comes to innovation, and we'll dissect that a bit more in a moment. So essentially, these are 3 ways to disrupt, again, that sexy word, disruption, disrupt these boring routines. And whether you're a business owner or an employee or whatever you call yourself, these are fantastic ways to start shaking things up. And first, you gotta give it. So again, if you're a manager or an entrepreneur or a startup owner or whatever you wanna call yourself, putting your organizational ideas and espousing your values into practice every day. So if you want to be more innovative and you want to be more creative, then you have to be that, and you can't expect everyone else around you to do that. You have to be a leader and not a follower. And once you're able to espouse those values and really live them, then you're going to set the tone to give permission to everyone else to be that way. So if you want to be an outside-of-the-box thinker, be that, and then show the people around you that they are allowed to do it as well. Okay? It's not this hierarchy of like, I'm the innovative, creative one, and you have to, do what I say. Open up this beautiful collaborative space for people to feel like they have permission to show up. And I think it's huge. I always ask the innovators, like, do you need authenticity to be innovative? And not necessarily, but I do think the more we show up, the more that we can be ourselves, the more courageous we are in our everyday, the more we're going to be able to tap into our creativity and our awesomeness. Not to sound, a bit woo-woo. Next, when we're being innovative, you fucking take permission. You don't have to wait around for people to give it to you. You take it. So understand some of the rules and then break them. Okay? Challenge convention. And that is what innovators do. They don't care about the status quo. They want to challenge stuff. Do you think Thomas Edison was waiting around for someone to give him permission to invent the light bulb? No. He's like, these candles are shit. They blow out really easily. When they get wet, they don't work. Let's make something else up. So go you, Thomas. Next is to get it. So don't leave inspiration to chance. Again, let's stitch this idea of perfectionism and be explicit in your search and look for provocative examples to let you know that you can have this permission. And again, provocative is also a very sexy word in the world of innovation. So being provocative, again, means that you're being outside of the box, you're being a little bit cheeky, you're being a little bit different. And I think that we need to be able to adopt this more. We need to be okay to be a little bit more disruptive and a bit more provocative. This doesn't mean take your clothes off, okay? Provocative in the innovation space is a little bit different. Right, Atula?
Yep.
So these are the 6 principles of this idea of permission. The first is creating a safe space. So no matter, again, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you want to create a space where people feel like they can be themselves. They can give their point of views. They can give their input. That's how we are able to be collaborative and innovative. Next is model it yourself. Again, people are not going to do what you want them to do unless you show them that you are doing it as well. Talk the talk and walk the walk. Don't be full of shit. Next, be you. Be courageous. Be you. There is no one else. I think there's, oh, I know this is Dr. Seuss. Something, there's fewer than you, there's no one alive. Oh shit, does anyone know that quote? Oh yeah, I should know this, but we'll think about it. If anyone remembers it, it's a great Dr. Seuss quote. We'll come back.
Somebody Google it.
Somebody Google it. Yes, come on. We're out of knowledge age. We're in the conceptual age. But now I really want to know it. Someone please Google it. Okay. Next is be clear with boundaries. And again, sometimes we want to be liked, we want to fit in, and so we learn how to say yes a lot. We don't know how to set boundaries. People are going to walk all over us, unfortunately, if we don't set healthy boundaries. This is applicable to our relationships, to our family, and to our professional lives. Know what you can handle and know what you can't. And then push it a little bit, but again, respect yourself to understand that you need to know what your boundaries are. Also, get over yourself, okay? This is such a huge thing. So many of us are so up ourselves. We think we're the center of the universe, but actually, we're merely a speck. And look, I come here and I stand up here with empathy and love for all of you, but I promise you, if you just get your head out of your ass, life is a whole lot brighter. It's very dark up there. Last is not take yourself too seriously, right? We are very good at being serious. We are, seriousness is beat into us when we're kids. And I want to talk about this when we talk a little bit more about drawing and playing. Does everyone get this? Does everyone understand the power of permission? The power of being able to do what you want to do. It is amazing. So Pamela Meyer, she is the permission connoisseur. And she says, the people who actually innovate, learn, and create change each day get, take, and most importantly, give permission to do so. The positive energy, creativity, and insights that are usually lost in workplace norms and routines can be regained with these 3 simple practices. Business owners have one of the most important roles as the permission giver to encourage innovative thinking, significant learning, and engagement at work. Let's just sit with that for a moment. It's very powerful. If you're really interested in this idea of permission, there's actually a book called Permission written by Pamela Meyer, and she talks about all these amazing things about permission to fail, permission to iterate, permission to move your body. It's a fantastic little read to learn more about permission. And now, the play bit. My favorite. Saving the best for last. Yes. So why do we play? Again, play is fun and we do it when we're kids, but actually, if we didn't need play as human beings, we would have lost it in natural selection. And when you think about play, we play until the day that we die. You know that your granny and your grandpa, they play cards, they play mahjong, or maybe that's just my granny plays that. That might be an old Jewish lady thing. We're playing essentially our whole lives. And play doesn't just necessarily mean you're hula hooping or you're playing hopscotch, but play is reading a fiction novel. Play is going to the movies. Play is watching cat videos on YouTube. There's so many different ways that we play, okay? And there's actually a lot of scientific evidence. You guys are like, oh yeah, I love those cat videos. So there's actually a lot of scientific evidence that actually backs up the idea of play. And there is a National Institute for Play in America, which was created by Dr. Stuart Brown. He has a background in psychology, and he started to study the background of homicidal maniacs, okay? There was a huge massacre in Texas, I think maybe in the 1960s, where a gentleman went to the University of Texas and shot from the tower. I think there's actually a movie now about it. There's like a cartoon. It's pretty cool. But anyways, he basically killed 40 people. And this guy, Stuart Brown, he was hanging out at a psych ward somewhere outside of town, and he was studying psychology at the moment, and his professor said, Stuart, I want you to figure out why that guy shot all those people. Because what drives somebody to shoot 40 people? He also shot his pregnant wife, his mother, and himself. So what drives us to do this kind of stuff, okay? So Dr. Stuart Brown started to do this research, and it turned out he started looking at all of the childhoods of all the homicidal maniacs, so like Tim Bundy or Ted Bundy, I can't remember his name, and all these different maniacs, like homicidal maniacs that were killing people in the U.S. And the one thing that they all had in common was they didn't learn empathy, okay? So when we're children and we play, we learn empathy, we learn how to be empathic, we learn how to relate, to build relationships. And so all of these, essentially, white middle class 40-something-year-old men didn't play as children. They had military fathers, they were sexually abused, so they didn't learn empathy. So when they're looking at someone and shooting them in the face, they can't feel what the other person is feeling. And that's what empathy is. It's putting yourself in someone else's shoes, okay? So it's so important that when we have our own children, when they're children's children, that we play, okay? Because it also improves our ability to learn. That's how we learn boundaries, yeah? We're like, oh, maybe if I put my hand on the stove, like, it'll be hot, ouch, okay? There's all these different ways that we learn our boundaries, what we can and can't do, okay? And sometimes when our parents are like those overbearing parents that don't let us do a lot of things, we don't get to push our boundaries as much. It also increases our openness to change. So play is something that, sometimes it has rules and sometimes it doesn't. But play is always changing. We're using our imagination, we're tapping into our creativity, so it helps us be more open to change. And also it provides us a sense of purpose and mastery. The last time that you played Scrabble with your partner and you beat them, don't tell me that you didn't feel like you were the king of the world, right? Okay? So it really helps us harbor this idea of purpose and mastery. Plus, again, it helps us build empathy, helps us build relationships. There's so many benefits. It's a stress reliever as well. So there's a couple of ways that we can play, okay? And the first, which I love, is saying yes and. So we are really good at saying but. Oh, but what about this? Or but what about that? And this is called blocking, okay? So I want you to all to think about improvisation. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or you've been to an improv class or an improv show. No one ever says no, and no one ever says but, okay? Because what you're doing is you're collaborating on stage with that person. So if I stood up there and this person's going like this, and I'm like, oh, you've got a fish in your hand. And they're like, no, I don't. End of scene. It's boring, and everyone boos, right? So no matter what happens, you're always saying yes. Again, this is, contradictory a bit to this idea of creating boundaries. But again, it's understanding what you're capable of and being a little bit more open. Like, what was that movie Jim Carrey was, The Yes Man? Just trying for one day of your life to say yes to stuff. Don't block it. Don't say no. Be a little bit more open-minded and see what happens. You never know. So this helps you support others when you say yes and instead of yes but or even no but. Cultivating yes phrases and becoming a can-do person helps you be more innovative. The more open-minded you are, the more you say yes to things, the more you're going to start to navigate new ideas and new perspectives. Second is to draw. So it's a very powerful tool to express ourselves. Every single one of us starts like an artist, yeah? We're 2, we're 3, we're 4, we're drawing, we're painting on the walls, we're drawing on the dog. Every single one of us is an artist, yeah? If we went to a kindergarten class and we said, okay everyone, raise your hand if you're an artist, every hand would be like, ooh, me, I'm an artist, me. We went to maybe a 3rd grade class, a few less hands would go up. Year 9, they're like, come on man, raise your hand, you're an artist. Nobody raises their hand. And if I asked any of you if you were an artist, I bet none of you would raise your hand. Is anyone an artist? Exactly. See? Crickets. One artist back. Okay, awesome. See? But every single one of us is an artist. Every single one of us has creativity within us. It just gets bogged down and covered in shit because we have standardized tests and we sit in the classroom all day long when we go through this very linear way of thinking in education. And hopefully we're going to start breaking out of that box as well. So being able to draw and solve problems and think through ideas. When you're in a meeting, instead of like writing lists and all that, start drawing, yeah? Start drawing figures and faces and people and things, and start how that opens up the conversation and gets people laughing and a bit more comfortable. Next is to say what if. So thinking of the impossible, pushing the limits, and having the courage to dream. And we're gonna play a game in a moment about what if. And then lastly, it's about making space. So again, I can't reiterate enough about this idea of making it safe, making it non-judgmental. So when we want to be more playful and we want to be more innovative, we need to feel like nobody is going to point at us and laugh at us. And the chances are that is going to happen. But if we're working in a space where it's collaborative and it's safe, then there's going to be more invitation to be innovative and more invitation to be creative because we're not worried about being judged. So, agility, that sexy word. Agility and improvisation are synonymous because agility means you're able to adapt to change, okay? So improvisation and agility, it essentially gives you the 3 C's. First is competence. So when we improvise and we're agile, we have the ability to respond to the unexpected. And there was a survey done and they asked managers and CEOs, how much of your day is actually improvised? And they said it was about 75%. So we make notes in our diary, we have meetings and lists and all that. But chances are, someone sleeps in, someone misses the meeting, someone, has to take their dog to the hospital, they spill coffee on their pants. Shit happens all the time, right? So we have to learn how to be agile and adapt to change. Next is consciousness. So again, we do mindfulness, we do meditation because we need to live in the present moment. And in order to be innovative, we need to be here now. We need to understand what are the needs of our clientele, what are the needs of our customer, how can we create change and add value to their lives. So it's a lively awareness of possibilities, presence, and listening, okay? So one of the best things we can do is listen. Listen to other people, listen to their input, be open. Your idea is not always the best one. And lastly, confidence. So believing in your ability and the ability of other people as well. And this helps us collaborate. So now we're gonna get uncomfortable and we're gonna play. So pretty much everyone is kind of like sitting next to a partner. If you don't have a partner, please get one. It's gonna get a little bit noisy in here, but we're gonna play a couple of games like we spoke about. So we're gonna play a game called Yes and. And so essentially what you have to do is every single time you start a sentence, it has to be with yes and. Okay, so one person starts and says, yes, and this is the best workshop I've ever been to. And the other person says, yes, and isn't she really cute? And they say, yes, and she really looks good in a beard. Yes, and okay, see where I'm going? You don't actually have to say that. That's a good place to start. So turn to the person next to you, say hello if you don't know them. The person with the shortest hair can go first. And they can start with yes and. So have a conversation, we're going to start with yes and.
Getting some comments on Periscope page. This is good. And, some people are saying this is not how innovation happens.
Okay.
So you say
Yep. That doesn't
We've got some Americans online. They said Bay Area, from Bay Area.
Oh, yeah?
So there's exactly zero innovation
I'll make a comment.
Hi. We'll go outside.
Wrap up your conversation. I hope everyone had a good time saying yes. Now we're going to play the what if game. Now,
Okay, just an introduction about Silicon Beach. We don't have any products. It's a meetup on meetup.com. So it's not social justice. It's about getting innovation through play. So I'll go back into the room, keep the discussion happening on Periscope.
I never said I was this innovation master. I'm just coming from this is my ego talking. I'm very sorry. So now we're gonna play the what if game. So again, we're being open to possibilities. So every time you start your sentence, you start with what if, and the other person answers with what if. Okay, go.
That is good. I gave them some feedback. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah, right.
Really great.
Cool. I like being disruptive.
That's all.
But I'm curious, how does innovation start? If you're not being open-minded and collaborative and playful and
And also through conflict.
Yeah.
Sort of arguing like this.
Yeah.
Which means that there's something wrong. It comes in.
Yeah.
Interesting questions, Sarah. Yeah. What if you had 3 cigarettes? Okay, a little bit about Silicon Beach. Silicon Beach is Australia's answer to Silicon Valley. Silicon Beach is a community, network of communities around Australia. So if you go to meetup.com and search for Melbourne Silicon Beach, you'll find us. And there are Silicon Beaches around Australia in Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Launceston, Geelong, and Ballarat. If I missed something, yeah, I think that's about it. We are opening many more, and you don't have to be in Australia, you can be anywhere in the world. We have got members from all over the world, so just Google Silicon Beach, you will find us, and join us and join in the conversation. And we don't want everyone agreeing with us. Innovation comes through conflict. So let's start some conflict.
With the yes and. Did anyone find that challenging? To be so agreeable? Did you ever want to go, no, but.
Just became a very weird conversation.
Yeah.
Saying yes and then what your actual response would be.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. I want you to be a little bit uncomfortable, and I want you to start thinking about what it means to say yes, to be a bit more open and to be a bit more curious. What about the what if game?
Jump off the side of a square planet and just wrap around the edge of the bottom.
Cool.
That's where it took us.
Awesome. See, that's where innovation is, on the edge of a planet. Awesome. Okay, so I just want to make a shout out. There's a few naysayers out there who are saying, I don't know if I can think about innovation. And look, I didn't claim to be this innovative person that's come up with like the next best invention. What I'm trying to do is get you to think about innovation from a playful perspective. Because if you're not playing, you're not innovating. And you look at places like IDEO and Google and Facebook, they have play embedded in their culture. So whoever said I wasn't innovative, that's a person from California?
Yep.
Stay in your country, okay? Tell Trump I said hi. Disruptive. We're being disruptive! Again, so look, the reason why we're doing this today is because I want you to look at innovation from a whole different perspective. I want you to think about it as a collaborative opportunity, as an opportunity to fail, as an opportunity to express yourself, an opportunity to be ridiculous, disruptive, and all those other sexy, provocative, agile, lean terms, okay? So I want you to walk out of here just being a little bit more open-minded about breaking down these walls again, this socialized understanding as play being ridiculous or childish or frivolous. Because I read an article by the gentleman, I think his name is Tom Boyle. Tom Boyle? He's one of the head honchos of IDEO, which is probably one of the most innovative spaces to date.
Mhm.
And they talk about how they have play embedded in their culture, okay? And when we think about work, when we think about work, what is the opposite of work? Play, exactly. And so when we think about the opposite of play, it's not work, it's boredom or depression, okay? And I know that's quite heavy, but essentially play is our opportunity to connect, it's our opportunity to have fun, be silly, step outside of the box. And so if we're not doing that, we're bored, we're complacent. And essentially when we're not connecting and we're not feeling good, that's when we have depression, when we feel isolated, when we feel like we're not a part of something. So I know that's quite a heavy, bold statement, but the opposite of work is not play and vice versa. Its opposite of play is actually boredom, complacency, or depression. So I don't need to be so somber, but this is facts, peeps. Okay, so again, Pamela Meyer, she's she wrote The Power of Permission, and she also wrote a book called From Workplace to Play Space. So she actually lines it out, she writes it down, how you can actually create a safe generative space in order to have more innovation in your business. And she says, those who can respond to the unexpected and unplanned, and who thrive in fast-paced and unpredictable environments are more likely to innovate. And what is this? This is improvisation. It's the ability to think on your feet, it's the ability to collaborate, it's the ability to accept failure and be present. And that is exactly what improvisation is, and it is exactly what agility is. So if you enjoyed what you did today, there are tons of different improv troupes and improv classes and workshops around town. And I highly recommend, if you want to start stepping outside the box, start looking at improv. There's Impro Melbourne, there's the Improv Conspiracy, there's lots of things around town that you can get involved with. So here are just a few ways that you can play at work. So one thing obviously is to get away from your screen. Do a few non-screen moments. So whether that's going for a walk or watching a cat video on YouTube, actually no, that's still a screen, so don't do that. Go and maybe watch a stray cat on the street. Talk to your coworkers. Go and go for a stroll. I already said that, but there's other ways that you can just not be on your computer. Schedule regular daily, weekly, or fortnightly playtimes. So instead of going to the pub or going to a restaurant with your coworkers, maybe go bowling or go to an escape room or see a movie. Do something that's a little bit more fun that you don't feel like you have to be pissed to talk to each other. Again, create a comfortable play space or lounge. So if you have the ability to create some flexibility in your workplace, maybe you can get some couches or some bean bags and just a space where people can relax and lounge and take a few 5-minute break to take a few breaths or read a book or just chill out. And don't be afraid to bring your personal, creative, playful life into the workplace. Again, we spend a lot of time at work. We spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And we're not being ourselves. It's really draining, okay? Like, it's easier to be ourselves than to be something we're not. And sometimes, yes, it is challenging to be ourselves, but it's even harder to be something that we're not, because it's not natural to us. It's not our natural energy style. Also, remember to say yes and, just being a bit more open to possibility. And also, like I said, trying an improv class because they're really fun. So last but certainly not least, if you had an awesome time with me today, I'm actually creating a whole opportunity for you to escape to innovate at my Project Play Immersion weekend. So essentially there's going to be 5 different workshops that are going to be happening. One is going to be about the courage to be innovative and playful, how to actually play in an extroverted world as an introvert, because I think that's a huge one for a lot of us. We think, oh, I can't play because I'm shy or I'm introverted. There's actually so many opportunities to tap into the power of being an introvert and use that as a playful space. So it's essentially a chance to kind of relax, recharge, and also kind of reconnect and rediscover that inner child, that creativity, and some of those things that we lose with all the the shit that happens in our everyday workplace. And I'm going to be there as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's down in Aries Inlet as well. Has anyone been down the coast? So it's about an hour and a half out of Melbourne. It's a beautiful bushy area. So outside of the city, out in nature. It's like 2 k's from the beach. And if you need transport, I'm more than happy to organize it for you. And essentially at the moment, I'm totally at a loss. I'm the worst entrepreneur that ever lived. I'm not innovative. I know nothing. And I just want you to come. So essentially, I'm giving everyone 50% off just to cover food and accommodation. I'm not making a penny out of this stuff. I just want you to come and have a great time. This is my MVP. This is the first one I've ever done. And so I'm looking for people like you who are interested in this as my play ambassadors to come and have a great time. Food, booze, accommodation, all your workshops, all your activities, it's all included from Friday night until Sunday afternoon. You can't get, an Airbnb for what I'm charging. It's only $350. It'll cost you $350 for a couple of nights in a hotel around here. So everything is included. So if you're interested, check out projectplay.work. We're going to be making puppets out of trash. We're going to be doing some Lego serious play. There's going to be a lot of fun and a great chance to meet some other like-minded people. So last but certainly not least, Larry Ellison. He's not that cool. He's not that well known. He's just an entrepreneur, whatever. But I love this quote. He says, "When you innovate, you've got to be prepared for everyone to tell you you're nuts." So I hope that all of you are feeling a bit nutty after today. You feel like you're able to go forth and give yourself a bit of permission to be a bit more silly and a bit more playful, to start being a little bit more collaborative and a bit more open to possibility. So do you have any questions, comments, concerns? All right. Does anyone feel like they learned anything, or am I just full of shit? You can tell me. You can tell me. Am I full of shit? It's
No.
fine. All right. Thank you so much. I'm always welcome to feedback. My name is Dara Simpkin. You can just email me, dara@darasimpkin.com. If you have any comments and you don't want to say it out loud, or if you have any questions. Again, I'm also a mindset coach, so if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed about how to be playful and you're like, oh God, I'm too serious, what do I do? I always offer a complimentary session as well. So happy to chat with any of you. I might have a few cards kicking around in my bag, but otherwise, go forth and be playful.
Anyone have questions for Dara now?
I've covered everything. Awesome.
Yes. Thanks. Thanks, Dara. Thanks, Dara. And all of you all are welcome to come to Silicon Beach